Get switched on. We gotta move now. Jammer's 500 meters north. We'll leg it from here. Let's go.
I think that opening sums up the hype that Modern Warfare 3 at the time had. And you truly had to be there to experience it. I mean, even to this day, almost 14 years later, I still remember the hype leading up to Modern Warfare 3. And even at school, because at the time I was going into middle school, which, you know, middle schoolers, I was 11 years old, and everybody and their mother was still hyped to play. You know, if your parents were nice enough to let you buy the game, or you had to get your older brother to buy it because they were 17. I just remember the talk of it being so massive. Even all across YouTube, you saw advertisements everywhere. Like, even just, I remember seeing trailers, you know, using the 3 in Modern Warfare 3 to spell England. Like, all those trailers. Like, this was a time to truly be alive. And I did buy this on midnight release for PS3. And I still have my copy to this day. But I, you know, primarily now play on PC, which I did buy a copy years later. But still, I just remember I just keep thinking in my head all these memories of the hype that Modern Warfare 3 brought and how excited I was coming home to play this game. And that's why I left the opening as I did, because I vividly remember just being so awestruck. Because unfortunately, I hadn't played Modern Warfare 2 yet, or COD 4. So I was kind of going into this campaign sort of blind. But still, I just remember playing that campaign for hours on end, just playing through it, you know, playing on, you know, I told people I played on, you know, hardened difficulty. In reality, I played on Recruit because I was, you know, 11 years old. You know, 11-year-olds, you're going to talk yourself up as much as you can. But I just, like I said, I just remember all the talk going on in the hallways, people showing things on their phones. Remember when we had the iPhone 4? I didn't have the 4S, but I did have the 4. Or maybe I had the 4 a little bit later on. I don't know. It was around that time. I either had my old flip phone or my 4. But regardless, still, I just remember that hype. But let's talk about the campaign. Enough about my glowing memories. But the campaign, I do believe, ended the series almost perfectly. The reason why I say almost is because there are some weird, like, inconsistencies. And honestly, they went big with this game, but they went big way too much. Like, every single set piece was bigger than the last, and it got a little too over the top, in my opinion. I mean, it didn't ruin the campaign. I still, like, when Modern Warfare 23 came out, I just replayed this campaign, and I still enjoyed it, because they wanted to top Modern Warfare 2. And this wasn't most of the original Infinity Ward that was working on this game. They had to get Sledgehammer to come in and help, because Infinity Ward was having that shakeup that happened during Modern Warfare 2's tenure. But still, like, it was still a good all-around campaign. I mean, spoilers if you haven't played it, which I'm not going to hold back spoilers. Soap's death, even though I hadn't played Modern Warfare 2 or COD 4, it still hit me pretty good. I was still sad. And now that I even think about it too, I did also watch part of a playthrough because I was just so hyped for Modern Warfare 3. I remember watching a playthrough by the Rad Brad. This was around the time I was introduced to the Rad Brad. And I just watched that campaign part of it because I just wanted more Modern Warfare 3 in my life. At the library, you know, we had computers where you would have, like, you know, an hour-long session, then you have to, you know, log out, then go back in with your account. And you'd have 2 login sessions a day, which was about, you know, 2 hours, which, give or take, it was 3 o'clock when I got off of school, so I'd have, you know, 2 hours to do whatever the heck I want. And it was still just so cool to see that stuff. I'm still subscribed to him to this day and follow him. I don't really watch much of his stuff anymore, but if y'all remember the Rad Brad, I think this is around the time he got popular. I mean, even Ali A, if you remember him, if I remember his name correctly, he even did a 1 or 2 episode playthrough of Modern Warfare 3, and that was That was something, you know, just to kind of keep the juices flowing. And I just had to keep that hype train going, so to speak. I mean, there were other games I was juggling at the time. There was Minecraft I was getting into a little bit before Modern Warfare 3's release. And then there was also, if I remember correctly, Battlefield. I did get Bad Company 2, and then I was playing Battlefield 3 a little before Modern Warfare 3 came out, or vice versa. I played both of them back to back, give or take, but I didn't play the online of Battlefield 3 as much because of the online pass thing. But anyway, back to Modern Warfare 3 and the campaign. Still, regardless, Soap's death did hit me pretty well, but that ending with Makarov, us taking him down, and man, what a satisfying ending. What a satisfying ending. And it was actually the first time we were playing as a voice protagonist in the Modern Warfare trilogy. We hadn't before, and it was Price we played as at the end, just to take Makarov down. And I love how, I think it was last year, a leaked cutscene, some modders were able to find this, where it was like a post-credit scene where Price was still alive, smoking a cigarette, and he looks up and you see a character walking, and, you know, walking across the balcony, and then just kept walking. Or rather, he stopped, looked at Price, and then kept walking. And then Price, I think, passes out or potentially dies. We don't actually know. We don't actually know what Price's fate officially is at the end. Some say he's dead because of blood loss. Some say he just passed out. But this cutscene does kind of solidify those theories a bit more. But it is cut content. Like, it's not officially canon. Because when they investigated the model, it was clearly a placeholder model because I think they were trying to build up a Modern Warfare 4 of some kind. But either last-minute things just didn't line up or something. I don't know. I just find it wild that we found this literally 13 years after the release of Modern Warfare 3, which is just crazy. It took that long to find this thing. But overall, I mean, another standout set piece, I think, was the airplane, where you're playing as the Russian bodyguard for the Russian president, which I love how it was like a little slice of Inception, because Inception was still sort of the rave at the time, even though it was about 2 or so years after its release. So it was a nice little action set piece of you spinning around in the airplane and shooting while you're all floating in midair. And then I love how that mission ends where, you know, you open the door, but it's a mission failed because Makarov comes out and just shoots you. I don't know. Nice little fond memory right there about the past and, you know, those little missions that I still remember to this day. I mean, even that ending set piece of that mission as well, before, you know, you have to do that all combat in the snow as you see the plane being ripped apart, flying everywhere. It's just, it's truly incredible. Just, I mean, despite, yeah, like I said, some of the set pieces were getting a little over the top. I mean, the Eiffel Tower falling, you know, is a cool set piece. But by that point in the campaign, you're just like, they just keep trying to one-up themselves, and there's no need to. You know, it doesn't hurt the campaign in my eyes, per se, but that just might be my bias and nostalgia talking. But you do feel like, yeah, they kind of went a little overboard, but it's because they were trying to one-up themselves. And Brian Tyler is no Hans Zimmer, or Lauren Ball for that matter, but man, does he do a good job composing the soundtrack. Man, does he do a good job. Like, honestly, for those of you who don't know, he also composed the Iron Man 3 soundtrack a little bit later. And he's done some notable soundtracks over the years, but his soundtrack I still listen to for this game to this day. Because there's just so many good pieces of music in here that just really help build the scenes in the game up, or just help build up the tension, or help build up the action and combat. But overall, I think that's really all I have to say about the campaign. I mean, the thing that has struck me after all these years, when you compare this trilogy to the newer trilogy, and I know I don't want to draw comparisons, but that new trilogy is trying to take notes from this campaign, and it just doesn't work. Like, you could tell the new one failed to recognize how to build up hype in a meaningful and great way. And this campaign, even though, yeah, it's a Hollywood action set piece, it's basically the stereotype that COD was, and still is, remembered to this day by. And it's just, even then, it still doesn't hold a candle to this campaign. So, that's all I have to really say about it. But anyway, let's segue right into multiplayer. Now, Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer was, you know, I was 11. And I did play it online from time to time, and this time, at the peak, when this game came out. And man, there was no shortage of any issues of finding multiplayer games in this multiplayer. And I had a lot of fun. This is the only time I can remember with the multiplayer just truly desperately wanted me to keep playing it over and over, because I love the selections, I love the look of the game, I loved how it felt. Even to this day in the footage, it just feels like I'm playing this game on like a used glove, like just fits on perfectly, and it just flows so well to me. I just feel the movement so well, and I love the weapons, the ACR, only a much, in my opinion, better version of the Modern Warfare 2 one, but I just love the customization. You had support kill streaks for some, kid like me who couldn't play the game at the time. Well, it was real nice to still contribute to the team, even if I did suck. You get kills or points, and it contributes to your score streak, and you can, get support streaks to help your team, whether it be UAV, ballistic vests, advanced UAV, just cool stuff like that. I mean, I did try the kill streaks one, but honestly, I was never good enough to get a Moab. Nowadays, I can do it a little bit much better, but not really in public lobbies, just because, well, playing Modern Warfare 3 in public lobbies on the PS3 or regular PC is a death sentence because of all the RCE exploits and, stuff that they can do to your computer because of just none of those vulnerabilities being patched out. But anyways, that's what Plutonium's for. Then you had the perk score streak system, which I tried and I really liked, but again, I couldn't keep kills for literal shit, so it was kind of just couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. I tried, so support is where I went, and in my opinion, I like the idea of just ranking up weapons a bit more than having to do like challenges to get the camos you want. Obviously, it does create another incentive to play the game. So them getting rid of it here, I think, was them trying to find a nice middle ground or do something different. But to one's own, I know there's a lot of people that probably like getting the headshots and doing all those challenges to get the camos, which, again, it makes it a little bit more rewarding. Which gold camo in this game, I've had a soft spot for just because it covers up the gun, just like the Black Ops 1 version. But there is less shine on it, which is unfortunate. But, it's still there. It still feels quite like an accomplishment. But the MP7, the MSR, the MSR, this is like on there with the intervention. I just love how smooth that sniper rifle is. I don't even like sniping, and I like using that thing. And then you got, the MP7, even the M4, which is the one you started off with. The CM900 or whatever that assault rifle is, that one's actually a nice solid option if you haven't ever tried that. But, Scar, like, there's just so many good weapons in this game, like, that I just loved using. Like, even down to, like, I liked playing Delta, and maybe you'll like this, because I liked the gloves that they had, with the knuckle protectors, that I wanted my dad to buy the gloves just for my own amusement, but they didn't have them in my size, because, I'm 11, but also he said they're too expensive, but that's because he was looking on eBay and not filtering it correctly. I don't know, it's 13 years ago, I can't remember it specifically, but still, it was a memory of mine that this game wanted me to get those gloves for some reason. But, it just felt, at least compared to Modern Warfare 2, this is a little bit more of a refined experience in some ways. I mean, yeah, there were a lot of perks and, even down to emblems and icons literally brought over from Modern Warfare 2 because they literally did not have the time, which I think this Call of Duty started the whole, stereotype that, COD's the same thing every year because they literally use the same assets from before, which other game developers and publishers use. It's just, it doesn't become as noticeable as long as it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. But Modern Warfare 3, it did kind of stick out like a sore thumb with those emblems and icons. But another core memory I have of this multiplayer is it also had split screen offline, and you could still rank up by going up against, your friends. I went up against my brother, and I even remember the 4-player split screen, playing it with some friends, which that was really hard, especially if you had a small TV. I mean, it worked. And we ended up getting a much bigger TV, but man, the resolution on that TV was not good still. And wow, was it hard to co-op, split screen co-op with that. But or even just multiplayer for that matter. And I had a good time with that. And my brother and I, we had a lot of fun. Like, we tried recreating the weapons from the campaign that we played and, versed off against each other. Like, little fun stuff like that. Which, it does suck that there were never bots for this game after Black Ops 1. And here's a little pivot here. I remember getting the PC copy wanting bots and thinking that there was because of some semi-old posts saying there were, only to then find out, which it wasn't the complete reason I bought this on PC, it was my transition, but when I found out that the bots were like, they had no waypoints, no AI, they were just basically shooting targets, and they maybe moved a couple feet, which was such a bummer, and I desperately tried finding something, because I still felt strongly of playing Modern Warfare 3, even a couple of years later, and I was desperate to find bots to play it. And eventually we would get bots about 6-7 years ago, which, hey, better late than never, but it wouldn't be until Bot Warfare, when it came around, that we'd finally get bots here, which now Modern Warfare 3 could be alive forever. But if I had a time machine, I would put Bot Warfare on my USB drive and somehow find a way to install it on a base Modern Warfare 3 copy and give it to my past self and be like, here, play with these bots and you will thank me later. I don't know, just because I've always liked the novelty of playing with bots because, as I've said in my previous videos, it's nice to have bots so when you go and play these older games that don't really have much of a player base, you can still play them and experience them. Maybe not a complete one-to-one ratio that how it was back in the day, but still close enough. You still have something to shoot and play and experience the multiplayer. So, it was a bummer that we didn't get them officially integrated, but still, I had fun playing offline with my brother. And, back to the balance of the multiplayer. I mean, first off, fuck you, Final Stand. I love how in the marketing they said they weren't bringing it back, but then they did through Martyrdom and, Death's Hand. It's like, ugh, I swear. I mean, and it's still even in this game, too. So it's like, what the heck were they even doing at that marketing? It's pretty clear why there were so many jokes that people made about them, at the time, saying they weren't going to add it, but then they still added it anyway. Weird, crazy shit, man. And I didn't buy, really, the DLC for this game. I didn't participate in the COD Elite stuff because, again, I didn't have the money for that. I barely had enough money to get this game on release alone. And I would experience the DLC later on Plutonium, for the most part, which was a nice way to experience these maps. Because some of these DLC maps are actually really cool. And I thought they were nice to play and fun to play. And even the Spec Ops stuff and the Survival, which we'll be touching on soon, I still had a lot of fun with the DLC that the game offered, even after all these years playing it. But I never got to play the DLC at its prime. I played only the base game, the base maps, and that was kind of my extent to Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer, really. I just like the setting. It's modern day, even at the time, but still sort of modern day with modern weapons, and it just felt nice to play. It felt like I was playing Battlefield 3 even on a smaller scale, just like I was playing Battlefield 3. It felt like Modern Warfare 3 on a larger scale. Yeah, we got a lot of threes right now being thrown around, but overall, I really enjoyed Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer. Like I said, the hype was unreal for this game, and I was here for it every step of the way. Which now leads us into the final part of this video, the Spec Ops and Survival. Now, out of all the modes that the Spec Ops tab in Modern Warfare 3 offered, Survival is the one I spent the most time in. And that's primarily because of, all the unlocks and playing with bots. It just felt like a much more chill experience, especially when it came to ranking up compared to multiplayer. And I was definitely close to max rank, which the only reason why I can't look back on that is because years ago Sony allowed you to change your PSN name, so I changed it to the name that I have now, and the direct result of that in consequence is some games you would lose your progress. This game was one of them, which was a bummer because now I can't see those stats. Unless I'm wrong, but I remember vaguely, like a while ago, wanting to look at those stats, and I didn't have the stats anymore because I changed my name. Anyway, I was close to the max level. Compared to my PC footage that you're seeing, I'm at 35. But, man, I had a lot of fun playing this mode. Split screen again with my brother, and with friends. And I just remember spending those hours in the afternoon, spending those 30 minutes to an hour, getting to those sort of high rounds, or getting as far as I could, and then wanting to replay and get back into the action. I just remember staying up even late sometimes at night just to experience that, and even playing it online with people around the world because I wanted to, play more of this. It was more Modern Warfare 3. Like I said, the hype was just unreal. We all just wanted more Modern Warfare 3, which, goes to show how strong the marketing was for not only Modern Warfare 3, but for gaming at the time. Because, man, you just felt like you had to be a part of this event. You had to find a way to get the game and just play it and experience it. And, I always, when it comes to this the survival mode in particular, Spec Ops not so much. I did have fun playing those missions, especially the AC-130, and manning that while your friend walks down and tries to complete the objective. Those were some fun versions, especially the alternate to the Russian airplane mission where you're playing as the ultranationalists this time instead of the Russian president's bodyguards. And it was such a cool thing too. I was like, oh, this is an inversion of that. And even there was another Spec Ops mission where you played as the Russian president's bodyguard who was shot. He ended up not dying. He gets back up and he completes the mission. Just some really cool, nice alternate moments in the campaign that are pretty cool to see. So, I just what's going through my head right now is those late nights of just sitting up sentry turrets, kind of like what you'll even be seeing in the footage, of just sitting there and basically just defending, shooting enemies, using the riot team, which is probably the best version because they can survive the longest with their riot shields, and just going to town. Like, Resistance I have the most fond memories with because it was so easy. It's, you could just purchase stuff up there, shoot, survive, that kind of thing. It was a lot of fun. Especially when you had friends and you were just chilling and talking about, school or talking about life. Had some good memories with that. And some good experiences at the time with survival. And I do wish I could have gotten the DLC because I would have loved to experience more of these survival maps, more of this content. But sadly, I just didn't have the money or means to be able to do that. And I just hate that I didn't. But, it is what it is. I still got to experience the game. I just remember being disappointed I couldn't participate in the other stuff that the game had to offer for the future. Which, the hype for Modern Warfare 3, just like everything, did die down. And then eventually, since I couldn't get the DLCs, I did move on. But still, I just remember playing survival and having myself a grand old time and enjoying the maps that it had. And I wouldn't take it for granted. I do wish that, you could have had more perks, and I wish you could have used camos from the multiplayer in here, and I wish it was fleshed out a bit more. I remember wanting those things. But overall, the Modern Warfare 3 survival package was worth playing and experiencing. And I think, in my opinion, it's probably one of the best alternate modes, even though it was probably one of the first ones to start off, aside from, the Modern Warfare 2 Spec Ops. But Infinity Ward hit it out of the park with this mode, in my opinion, and I'm glad that we still got content for it, and they kept making improvements, unlike a certain other game in this catalog that didn't in the near future that they made. But regardless, at least for Modern Warfare 3, they did. And that's all I really have to say. There's nothing too crazy to say about Modern Warfare 3 Survival, for me at least, which I guess just to give my closing thoughts now. Overall, Modern Warfare 3, you had to be there to experience the hype, but this Call of Duty just continued the hype train even further. I mean, we are still in Call of Duty's peak. Some might argue that this is where Call of Duty started to fall off, but nah, we still got one more game in this list of Call of Duty's peak era that I think started the end, but not in a bad way, before anyone thinks so. But I think this just continued it. It just continued it further and further. And I'm just grateful that I was able to experience this Call of Duty at its time, at its peak. And, you know, I kind of had to hide the game from my mother. I couldn't play it at my mother's house because my mother didn't want me playing rated M games. Even though I told her years ago, I still did. Like, when I turned 18, I still played rated M games. But I told her, I've been playing them this entire time. You do realize that, right? And she kind of got upset. Now I'm, you know, 25. I can play whatever the hell I want. And, you know, perks of being an adult. And quite honestly, I'm one of those people that likes being an adult more than a kid. But anyway, still, I look back my time with Modern Warfare 3 and the 2011 era of gaming just really fondly. And I wouldn't trade it for anyone or anything in this world. And, you know, I do wish that, you know, kind of wish we did get a Modern Warfare 4 instead of what came next, but at least this trilogy ended on a high note. Better than you could say a lot of things, because there are other games out there that don't even end on a high note with their trilogy, but this game did. And it just feels nice to, you know, when I go back and play this trilogy every once in a while, it's going to be a consistent experience all the way through from the beginning to the end. Even despite some of the shortcomings that Modern Warfare 3 had, because, you know, I still am under the assumption we were supposed to go to Moscow and take the fight there, just judging by just how it was kind of set up in Modern Warfare 2, but regardless, we did get this version. All the characters are great. Even the new ones that were introduced, like Sandman, to where you're like, where the heck did he come from in the picture? And then he apparently had been a part of Operation Kingfish this entire time. So, it's just it. Like I said, you had to be there to experience it, and I'm just very grateful I was, you know. So, anyway, I think that's all I have to really say about this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts and even experiences with Modern Warfare 3 and what memories you have, whether it be from back in the day or even now if you still play it to this day. You know, let me know in the comments below what some of those experiences are. Also, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to know when I go live, and I will see you guys Tuesday with another video. Y'all have a good rest of your weekend and take care.